All right, man. That just gets me excited every time I watch that.
I'm gonna have to watch it for the 5-minute intro next time.
I thought we were gonna watch 5 minutes of that.
I know. It is 4:30 Wednesday Pacific time. I got to keep telling everybody that because I live in a Pacific time world over here.
It's 6:30 Central Time, brother. You all messed up on the West Coast.
And my fence life is live once again this week. This time we are lucky enough to have Shane Mike Jones. I know I had that in the title, but it's Shane if you know Shane well enough, and Shawn King himself. And we are super excited to be here. Shane, thanks for coming on, man. We talk a lot, so I feel like we probably talked 2-3 times today anyway, but it is good to see you again.
I appreciate you having me on, Brian. Yeah, it's been a long day, but I'm glad to be here, and thanks for having me. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Man, I just learned you had 2 first names. That's pretty badass, right? I thought we were meeting with Mike, and they're like, no, it's Shane. I'm like, what? No, it's really Shane and Mike. It's the same one person?
Yeah.
He's probably got 2 different business cards too. Depends on who he's talking to. Or you want you to call him back.
Okay, it is. One of them has the wrong phone number on it, and I'm going to let you all guess which one it is. So
this is the one I call.
I like it.
So it is Wednesday. A lot of exciting stuff happening this year. Not just coming up here in 30 days. Shane, you've had a lot of new stuff happening at your company, and seen a lot of growth and stuff lately with stuff you've got going on. But I know there's some sad stuff happening in our industry. Our fence family's been supporting some people from our industry, and I think we wanted to take a moment. I know Shawn had a couple things he wanted to say about that.
Absolutely, man. I gotta tell you, I'm very, very proud of our industry, and I have been. I mean, that's nothing new, but we showed up on this one, right? So we have a fellow fencer that fell on some hard times, really just unfortunate events that occurred. If you don't know, Eric Dampier, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I've never met Eric, and I've never actually heard his name pronounced. So Eric Dampier is primarily in the ag industry of our industry with Dampier Fence. Had an intruder come in his home on Sunday, literally enter his home and shot him. No question. Well, this is what I'm being told. He was shot 3 times. His dog was shot. He got 1 in the jaw, 1 in the aorta, 1 in the spine. The dog was shot in the spine. And then they left. Like, as far as I know, we don't even know who that person was. And they left their family in that distress, right? So there is a GoFundMe account to help, well, obviously, with the most immediate need is some financial stuff right off the bat. I'm sure there'll be plenty of other things they need help with in the future. But one of our fellow fencers is in need. And almost instantly, the cavalry showed up. Like, I'm very proud to be part of this industry. I heard about it, and then it just blew up the Facebook feed, and people are just leading each other and sharing the story. The one thing I'll tell you about is I don't know Eric. I've never met him. But when there's people that I do know that are good stewards of our industry, and they start posting about Eric's a great guy, no questions asked. I don't need to ask. It's all in, right? That's the cool stuff that's happening. I don't need to question it. All in. And there's more people like that are messaging me. Do you know Eric? No, but I know that they do, and they have vouched for he's a good dude. He's a great steward of our industry. Let's give him all the help we can. So I'm very impressed with everyone, how they stood up and have helped out. Eric is stable. He's talking. They are not going to remove the bullet from the spine, I hear, because of risk of paralyzing. So him and the dog both are going to live on with that bullet in them as they move on. So the powerful stuff. Yep. Yeah. Powerful stuff. Our industry coming forward. It is sad that it happened, but I put a post out there, the day it's like as much bickering we do as industry back and forth, like brothers and sisters, mess with one of us, see what happens. Right. So we'll come together. We'll band together. But which camp you're coming from? Right. We're coming and meet and help a fellow fencer. So kudos to everybody in our industry for stepping up. And if you don't know about it, there's easy to find on Facebook. It's all over the place. Jump in there and help out. It may not be a financial donation. Maybe you can offer time. Who knows what they're going to need down the road. So just stand by and be willing to jump in.
Yeah. Yeah. And thank you for that. I mean, it's, I think we've all been kind of following it online through the social media and stuff. And to think about just being in your home, the one place you're supposed to feel safe, and to have something like that happen, it just puts chills in my arms. Just thinking about it, and not just the incident itself, but the way you were saying how the fence industry is not like anything else that I've everything in my life. So that people can actually come together no matter what. It's heartwarming for that part of it, but it's just horrible to even imagine something like that would happen in your own house. So our hearts go out to them for sure, and the family. Obviously, if there's something any of us can do, reach out. And I'm sure by the end of this thing, maybe we can get that GoFundMe account link down in some of the comments here if anybody wants to join in, and maybe people will be doing updates in there.
Probably get that done.
Yeah, so we appreciate that. But moving on to the show, I know that's we could probably go into that for a while. Shane, not that we want to segue into that. Tell us, tell us about you.
Right. Well, first of all, Shawn, thank you for giving us an update on that. I do appreciate hearing about it. Yeah, the fence and gate industry. I've been doing this for 22 years. Prior to that, I was in the fire service, and that will be the only service that I've ever seen come together the way you guys are talking about, and the way that I've seen them come together for this guy. So, yeah, that's pretty amazing to hear. I'm glad to hear everybody came together for him and is going to help him out.
Yep.
So
Calvary's there.
Yep. Yeah.
That's 20 great, years though. That's good to hear, man. You're a fence veteran.
Yep. Started in gate operators straight out of high school, and cut my teeth out, digging holes, pouring concrete, and hey, we need you to wire this up. Well, all right, I've never done this before. All right, well, here's a manual. Don't blow anything up. Keep the magic smoke in the board, and you'll be fine.
The magic smoke.
Yep. Well, Shawn, you have a background too. You were like a crossing guard or something for a while, right?
Yeah, I did do that for a while. A little flashing light. I drove a little beep beep car. Actually, truth be told, we were the ones making the scene safe for the firefighters to go in.
Oh, you were those guys. Okay. I think
you can't
you Blue Canaries.
There we go. Just saying. But I will tell you that I did try firefighting one time, and I learned very quickly. Shawn King is not a firefighter, should not be firefighting at all, not qualified, nor will I ever be. It was a run. I was there in a law enforcement capacity, but the fire department wasn't there yet, so I thought I could do this. Grabbed a 3-inch hose that was hooked to a pump at a farm, and I just went at it. Got the living shit shocked out of me because there's still power to all the outlets as I was hitting at the hose.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Didn't understand what was happening. The hose is vibrating, hurt. I'm like, what is going on? No, they later told me I killed the power, idiot. Oh, got it.
Yeah, I just can't help but think of the commercial Ding Dong, Jimmy John's. Great, grab a bucket. Great, grab a bucket.
Oh yes, true story.
Wow. Well,
but Shane, you go back quite a ways though in our industry. So Shane, tell us about that.
So I remember, and I actually had this conversation with a couple of the people who attended the boot camp, and made me realize just how long I have been in this and how old I am now. But some of the first operators that I worked on, did service on, were still the relay logic before we had integrated circuit boards and everything else going into it. And then the old elite operators, robo swings and slides and CSW 200s and SL 3000s.
Oh yeah,
those were industry standards. They were the best operators you could get, and I couldn't tell you how many of those I put in. And
I'm with you.
I also can't tell you how many of those are still in service today. I passed by some of them, and I'm like, man, I would have thought that thing would have keeled over by now. But
I'm getting ready to put in some CSW 200s this week. Yeah.
So those are the new ones,
Yeah. Not the old relay ones. No.
I have one of the old SL3000s. We powered it up yesterday. We got it on the table in the back, and we use it for testing and some other stuff that we're doing, hooking equipment up. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is about them. They were like tanks. I mean, they were simple. You think about it. I mean, you had they were literally, it's kind of like our old cars when we were working on them, and you could change your own oil, and you just had a distributor cap with some spark plugs, and you had like 5 basic parts, and if it broke down, you take somebody's panning hose or something and use it as a belt to get you somewhere. It's like, you know what I mean? Remember, you could actually sit in the hood of open up the hood of your car, and you actually climb up on the fender well and put your feet down inside of it while you're working. Do you remember that?
Yep.
Right. Now you open it up and you're just like,
yeah, my wife's got a Lincoln, a 2019 Lincoln, and I popped the hood. She's like, something's making a noise, so I don't know why, but I pop the hood every once in a while. We're going to take it to the dealership. I don't know what I'm looking at. But my first car was a 65 Mustang that I got to rebuild. So, I definitely know what y'all are talking about. I miss those days.
We had a Sebring. I don't know if you remember those Sebrings that were out for a while. They're kind of cool cars. And it actually, in order to change the battery, you had to remove the tire. It was like the weirdest thing that it went to that. Yeah,
What?
literally, you had to remove like the driver's side tire to get to the battery, and that's how crazy it got. We went from being able to put our feet down in it and pull it apart to you had to remove tires to get to the battery. So it's gotten that crazy, but
can't even put a battery in the engine compartment anymore.
right. No room for that. Well, I guess now the cars you're sitting on top of them, right? And they just
it is a battery now.
Your car's the battery, right?
For the time being, I'm going to pass on that.
So how far back do you go, though, actually in the, what do you think that was, like the 2000, 1990s?
So the Elite brand came out early to mid 90s. And I wasn't there when they initially launched it, but we were the first company to install them in the Florida Panhandle. Yep. So we were the very first company to install any of the Elites. Before that, everything around here was relay logic. So I would say, I think late 90s, maybe 97, 98.
Yep. Okay. So yeah, that's about when I was putting those things in too. So you learned a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know if it seemed like they went in easier or something back then. I think it's just, they worked right out of the box, and they may not have had all the safety features and stuff, but they worked right out of the box. All you had to do is power them up, remember?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You had the IRD in there where you could turn down the force, but still, if you got in front of the thing, it's still going to run you over. And wire everything in, put power into it, and that thing was just going to go. I don't think I ever had any parts that were just bad out of the box. I
don't remember that either.
Yeah, and those Omni boards, man, on the CSW 200s, the older ones, and then the SL 3000s. Those Omni boards, unless they took a direct lightning strike, they were.
That's it. As I say, the lightning strike would kill those things. Whether and maybe ants.
Definitely ants.
I think we did stock limit switches and some QR400 Omni boards, and I don't think maybe some plug-in loop detectors when they got down to those, and I think that was it. You had that on your truck, and that's all you needed. Right?
Yeah.
The little limit switch cam nuts.
Absolutely.
Those plastic nuts.
Yep. So, but yeah,
that is too funny. We're having flashbacks here, man. Flashbacks.
You could restock your entire truck for 20 operators for $100.
Yeah, those good times. Yeah, I don't. You're right. I don't remember a lot of stuff out of the box being defective. It's weird. That's weird, isn't it? Yeah. So you were installing gate operators then for
yes.
your dad's. It was your dad's company.
Yeah. It was Alltech Systems down in Pensacola.
Okay, so you've been working with your dad for a long time.
Long time. Yep. Since I was since I was about 12.
Yeah. That's not easy. That's not easy because you'll say things to your relatives that you wouldn't say to a normal employee.
Or dad will say shit to you that he wouldn't say to anybody else.
That's what I'm saying. That's
my same age.
Yeah, you get it both sides. Both sides.
That's right.
You got a thick skin to work for relatives. That's for sure.
It takes a special breed.
Half my family works for me now. It's now the other end of that. Now I'm trying not to be the dad. Everybody.
And you got to turn it off because you're going to have to go sit across from them at Thanksgiving dinner in a couple of days.
Yeah.
So you're just going,
you're
like, maybe I won't fight.
Learn that hard decision to separate the two, and it doesn't always work out, but sometimes it does, and we're good.
Yeah, that's rough. So after you're doing installation, what did you was there a natural phase into the manufacturing side as well?
Kind of. So my father also owns Rotary Gate Systems, and he kind of developed it on his own. He's a machinist by trade, kind of an engineer's mindset. So in the 80s, he worked on a program where the machine shop he was working for built tailgun motors for B-52 bombers. So they got a contract to do, I don't know how many hundreds of bomber motors. And sorry, I was looking at Michael Brooks' comment.
Yeah, I saw that too.
So he finished up this contract and had enough parts left over and got one assembled and everything, kept it with him. Didn't cost the government anything, so y'all don't come after us. But right around the time they ended that contract and finished up all the motors, the government decided they didn't need tailguns in bombers anymore. So they scrapped all of that, and somewhere our government has a huge container full of these 440 three-phase DC motors. So that's where the design came from, and he worked on that on his own from about 2000 to want to say 2003, 2004, when he had the first prototypes ready to go. And I was the first one out there installing them on a set of gates that we did on the beach, and went from there.
Nice.
Damn.
Was it always under Rotary Gates?
Yeah.
It was? Okay, nice. So then it grew pretty quick once people started seeing them, because it's a really unique operator if people were to see it. And I'm sure they'll be able to come see the defense show, but go to Rotary Gate. Is it RotaryGateSystems.com or?
Yep.
Rotary.
Yep. RotaryGateSystems.com. That's got all of our products on there. Mike, including the chain drive operator, and Susan, the rack and pinion operator. Both of those are on there. The rack and pinion was actually the first one we did. So from 2003 to 2008 was just installs by our installation company. We did, a bunch of beta testing, making changes and tweaks, and adding a manual release and different electronics and everything else. In 2008, we kind of perfected the design, figured it was ready to put out, and that's when we went public with the product, started selling it to dealers around the country, and it really was a hit. We grew quite a bit that first year, and then shortly after that, everybody knows 2008, the economy tanked. And so we held our own, came out of it the other side just fine, and looking at, making our mark on the industry now.
Yeah. And I think you're doing that. You definitely have a big presence wherever you go. You guys make yourself known. If you're
2008 was quite the ride to ride through that one. I remember riding through 2008. I feel like we're talking my story of working for my dad at the age 12, starting in the early 2000s, riding through 2008, innovating and redesigning. Like you're revolutionizing gate operator systems.
Yeah.
Like this is totally unique. Rack and pinion gates. What?
Well,
yeah. So that's what we were going for. We didn't want to get into something where we're building a mousetrap exactly like everybody else. If we came out with, and don't take this as me bashing anybody, there are some great operators out there, but if we were going to come out with a pad mount chain drive operator, what are we actually giving back to the industry?
Look who you're talking to, brother.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay.
So
it's okay to change and look at it from a different perspective. Exactly what you're doing. I didn't know about Rotary Gate Systems until just recently, and I'm blown away that I have not known anything about these. And all the years I spent with the chain dragging and trying to tighten the chain up and pulling it so tight that it tears the freaking bracket off the gate, right? Cracks the weld, the chain gets.
Where you got a nice little bow in your gate. Yeah.
All this stuff, and you guys have had a solution the whole time. It's just been sitting there. It's like.
And how are you gonna convince Shawn that he shouldn't have a concrete pad? Yeah.
Where is that? Wait a minute.
He loves
to drive this thing in the ground.
So one of the things that I like to tell people is at 24 years old, I had to have back surgery, and my surgeon had my MRI done, came in, looked at it, had my secondary consultation. He says, "Hey, so I looked at your MRI, and we're going to get you in for surgery in 2 days." I said, "Wow, that quick? You must have a light load." He goes, "No, your back is worse than anybody I'd ever seen. Not anybody at that age, anybody." Wow. So, and he had been doing this for years. So the way I'm going to teach you to not pour concrete pads is it saves your back.
Yeah.
So
how many of those 80-pound bags of concrete? Huh?
So you're mounting these systems on a post, right? You're not pouring pads.
Right. So your existing gate posts, I can't help you there. You're going to have those in concrete.
No, we can pound them.
Those in
we can pound them. Hold on a minute. We can pound them.
Yeah, and
I see a video coming. The first gate operator installed with zero concrete.
To be fair, I gotta to be brutally honest and be vulnerable with you guys. I spent almost all day digging 8 holes for damn gate posts today. So don't be so stubborn not to dig a damn hole. We dug 8 holes because they're a 6-inch aluminum post, and I don't have the confidence to drive that through 8 inches of asphalt and compacted rock before I destroy the post. Now I probably can get it in the ground. Not in this case, not today. No. So we dug holes, and boy did it suck. My God, it sucked. Right?
Yeah.
I forgot how bad it was.
That was just posts for your gate posts. That was just holes for your gate posts.
We put in 1,000 feet of fence yesterday and didn't dig a single hole. That was all pounded. Okay. But these gates are 24-foot gates, 6-foot tall aluminum that have, they got to put. I can't just put that on a little bitty post. So
Oh,
It
yeah.
was a 6-inch square aluminum post. I don't necessarily feel confident driving that through 8 inches of
Asphalt
compacted
and sub base
asphalt.
and everything
Yeah,
else.
everything. I think it will destroy the post. We might get it in the ground, but I don't know that it'll be salvageable. It's got routed holes in it for the section. As soon as you ding up the top of that, could you imagine getting 3 foot in the ground going, let me get 1 more foot and smash the top? And now what are you going to do now? Start over? So I didn't have the balls to do it. That's really what it came down to. No, like, we're going to dig. My team's
Well,
like, we're going to do what?
Yeah,
We're gonna do
Shane,
what?
that's understandable, but
I
that
called
also
Shawn
gives
at
us an
11
opportunity. I'm just going to have to come see you, and we're going to have to try this out.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm okay with trying it out on a different job. I need to get paid on this job, brother. Yeah.
I called Shawn at like 11 in the morning, or it must have been about 11:30, and it was like a hangover movie, man. He's got it actually, like, it was a Zoom, or I don't know what it was. I got him on the video, and he's like this. He's like, I effed up, man.
I thought
It was exactly like a hangover. Exactly. He's walking around outside. He's like, I effed up, man. No, man. It just went on for like a couple minutes before he'd actually tell me what happened. And then he goes over with his camera and he shows me the hole.
Shane, I made it worse. I could have just drilled the hole we had a skid steer with the Terminator bit on the end of it. Drill the hole, be done, okay? Listen, I have good days and bad days. Some days you're the bug, some days you're the windshield. Today, I was the bug. So I thought it was a good idea to take the cutoff saw. Yeah, I thought it was a good idea. Cut a square. So when I dig through this brand new asphalt, I don't chip it up and I got something clean and neat to finish the concrete towards. Like, that's my thought process. So I cut this hole that was like, I don't know, 16 inches by 24 inches because it went to the edge of the drive anyways. I don't want the asphalt to crack. Man, we spent 3 hours jackhammering outside the hole and inside where I cut. There was no need to cut that. I didn't need to do that. It would have cut. So instead, 4 jackhammers, 4 guys, 2 hours on 8 holes because my dumbass cut a square thinking it would look clean and neat. And this asphalt was so hard, it wasn't coming out.
Didn't matter.
Like, no, what?
Jeez.
How do I fix it? I mean, it's too late. I've already painted and cut it. My guys are like, well, now what? I mean, this is when Brian called me. I'm like, I just messed up. Like, this is the rest of our day. We're not setting posts today. We are just jackhammering. Welcome to the fence business. It can happen to any of us.
I'm like, yeah, that's great, Shawn. I need to talk to you. He's like, I know, but just it took him a moment to like break out of his his moment.
Man, those are those days when you look at it and you've been using post hole diggers or in your case an auger bit for 4 hours and you're 6 inches deeper than you were when you started. Those are the days when you want to cry.
Yeah.
Like, I'm surprised Shawn made it to the show, but he does have a drink in his hand. So
I did rush home to get a drink. I'm like, I'm drinking a beer tonight. Hey, but all the holes are dug. The posts are ready. We'll set them tomorrow. There will be concrete used tomorrow. Now, the question is, will it be wet or dry? I don't know.
oh
You're
man,
gonna have to break out the vibrators. You got your own mix. I mean, that's just
You
what
got
we
to
should
stay
do
tuned
right
for that one, guys. I can't give it away.
there.
Truth be told, I'm not even sure because I gotta pour a pad for the operator too. Am I gonna pour that dry? Or is that gonna be wet? If I got wet concrete already, do I put it in the hole? I don't know.
and you're brave if you're going to dry set that with a 25th of gate. Just saying. I've dry set some fence posts. I don't know that I've ever dry set a gate post in my life.
No,
Well, I can tell you I have never dry poured an operator pad, but I have dry packed mini gate posts. I'm confident in that. I could do that. It's the dry pour of the concrete pad at 4 inches. I don't know about that idea.
I think it's a whole video right there. You need to dry set this thing, and then like, I don't know, the next day start putting your anchors in. Just get the
the next day. Yeah.
just
Maybe 60 days from now. Just water it every day.
Every day for a while.
Right.
Going, I refuse to mix this concrete. I'm going to show everybody.
Just keep watering it every day.
You know? So Shane, these questions keep popping up about the chain drive when that's coming out, and I want to get back to what Susan said earlier about the tail, and that's the first thing I think I was telling Shawn earlier was what's unique about this too is if you are in a tight spot and you don't have room to add that 26 inches, 28, 30 inches on for a tail, this is a perfect perfect operator for that kind of application. So tell us about that, and then the when the chain's coming out. Is it not out yet?
So the chain drive operator was actually released at the Fence Show last year. That's where we debuted it. We had already done our testing and everything. It's very similar. It mounts exactly the same as our rack and pinion operator, just a little bit bigger footprint on it to allow for idler rollers and chain sprocket and everything else. It uses a standard number 40 chain, so everybody's got that on their truck for the most part, and you're good to go. As far as a tail on the operator, so for a rack and pinion operator, that's going to be your best bet if you've got limited space. The size of the operator from the face of your post out to the end of the operator is about 7 inches. So if you've got good space or you just don't want to build that gate, then what you need is the width of your opening. I tell everybody plus about a foot.
But you're rolling on the ground then at that point. It's not a cantilever.
Right. So for a cantilever though, you can go the very minimum because where we mount is in between your two posts. You get your gate to your back post, and I'd still say just for safety reasons, go another 6 inches past that. But after that, you're done.
Is there any additional issues with safety with the rack and pinion? Is there something with a guard we got to worry about? No.
So it comes with a guard to cover up the teeth on it, and where they mesh with the gate, the teeth on the gate, all that's covered. So all that's taken care of from us. So y'all don't have to worry about any of that.
Nice.
What are I know there's some advantages to the rack and pinion, and if you go to a lot of countries, you go to Europe and other places, rack and pinion it's all they got in some of these countries. They don't even use the chains, but what it feels like in the US is we're so stuck on chains because that's what we're used to. So the idea of the rack and pinion, it's just, we almost think it's from another country, or it's the cheaper unit, and they don't realize how much better the rack and pinion, in my opinion, is on a gate and operator.
I think it's a no-brainer, Brian. Like, why? What? It's a no-brainer.
Once the installation company that I worked for started installing these things, I don't think we ever installed another chain drive operator after that. It was an easy sell to the customer. You present them this big box that we're going to tear up your $10,000 landscaping job, pour a bunch of concrete. You're not going to see us for 3 days because we got to wait for the concrete to set up. And then we're going to come back out, mount this box. Plus, you're going to have chain through there. Your chain's going to rust and mess up your nice, pretty driveway. Go through all that and offer them a rotary operator. So it's going to mount to your post that we have to have there anyway. We're not going to do any other digging or messing up with your entryway. And this is all you're going to see. And we're not going to have the chain. It's going to be quiet. It's self-lubricating nylon. It's a no-brainer.
So why do you have a chain-driven unit then?
Well, we got into situations. The biggest market was in Dallas. I've got a cousin who does access control and gate automation over there. Most of their gates, actually, I'd venture to say all of their gates. Michael Brooks would be able to answer this more than I would, but they're all V-Track, and the way he explained it to us, these things get hit constantly, and they don't want them replaced. They don't even want them fixed perfectly straight. He said they want me to come out with a torch and a sledgehammer and beat it into submission so it'll roll.
Yep.
Okay. So if you have if you have your track system on there, you're afraid that it'll cause a kink in the gear in the track, and it won't work very well. It won't bend like a chain can have more tolerance. Does that make sense?
Right.
Okay.
So if you got a chain drive operator and your gate looks like a snake going down the road, then the chain's still going to pull it. With our rack and pinion drive operator, it needs to be a little more, a little better than that.
So is your rack pretty rigid, or does it flex?
So our rack is actually really flexible. We can, I show that at every one of the events that I go to.
I thought you had a gate that was a curve with a rack on it, right?
Yep. So
that's
what I show everybody. In those events,
drive.
you can bend that stuff 90 degrees over.
Yeah, that's amazing.
You naturally segued into what I was going to say next, were the positive things to chain driven. All right. So there's pluses and minuses to both. So, I mean, and I use a lot of chain driven, when we do installations and stuff, and it is easier on the repairs and, things like that. And it's more forgiving, on the gate and things like that. So, but, I go one step further. I use a number 39 chain on all of mine, just so it's a little bit better,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
All right. Of course you do.
Well, we might have some issues with that. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to match that size.
I know.
If you can provide the chain, then I'll put it on there for you.
Really?
So, but even with the chain drive operator, you're still getting a huge benefit over a pad mount operator. It still mounts to the post, so you're still not having to pour or dig holes, run your conduit under there. lift up 80-pound bags of concrete and pour those, wait 3 days for them to set up and everything else. It's still going to mount to your post. So
is there any reason why this wouldn't work for class 3 or class 4 sites? I mean, is it?
No, we're actually ETL listed for class 1, 2, 3, and 4. The one thing we can't do with class 4 operators, and one thing I don't want to do, I don't want to get involved with that, at least not at this stage, is some of those installations need you to be able to hit a button, and at that point it ignores all safeties and closes as quickly as it can. And if there's anything in the way, you're just supposed to crush it.
It's bulldozing through it.
Yeah. Those are your crash gates, and VMAG does that, but they move at 9 feet per second or something. I have no interest in getting into that, at least not at this point.
Right. Yeah. You would need a big rack and pinion for that.
Oh yeah.
Crush some cars.
Not that our motor wouldn't do it. Stall current on our DC motor is like 90 amps, which no circuit board on the market can even handle that. If it did, that thing would put out more torque than my F-150. So it would definitely move whatever you wanted it to move. We're not there.
Are they mainly DC units, all of them?
Yeah, all of our operators are DC. So they come with a built-in battery backup. And
how are they on solar? Can you hook a solar up to these? Do you upgrade the batteries, anything like that?
You do want to upgrade the batteries. We still send 5 amp hour batteries with them if the dealer wants them. If not, we'll give a little bit of a discount to get those batteries out of there. But they're going to upgrade it to what they need. And we worked with SAS for a little bit on some of their solar installations. We worked with some dealers direct on some of their solar installations. It really always seemed like anytime we went through to work with them and got them solar equipment, we calculated something wrong. So being in Florida, we're going to calculate how much sun we get, and that's going to be completely different than what they get in Tennessee. So
yeah. So they must be pretty efficient for 5 amp hour batteries, because to be running 5 amp hour batteries, these got to be pretty efficient motors.
They are peak current draw with a gate on it, and these are now most of what I get to test with are aluminum gates, so it's going to be different than what you guys see with the steel. But the peak current draw on our aluminum gates, 35 feet long, 6 feet tall, is 4 amps, and without anything hooked to it, it's a decent sized gate. Without any gate on it, no load at all, then we're looking at 2 amps or less.
Yeah. So you mount the operator on the post, which is I'm assuming your gate post right there, from what I've seen. And then you have a control board that's sitting inside of a box that gets and you can mount that right next to it or over on a wall if you need the room, wherever you want to mount that. Does it come with some leads with it, or is there a certain recommended distance you can mount the control box from the motor itself?
So your operator comes with 8-foot leads on it, and that'll get you within most places. Yeah. If you're in a commercial or industrial site, you can put the control box right there next to it, no problem. If you go to a residential, if you go to some of these high-end HOAs or apartment complexes, you can put it in their garage, you can put it in their gatehouse, guardhouse, whatever you have available to kind of hide that, make the operator system as least intrusive as possible. Now, when you go to extend your wires out, I tell everybody you want to follow basic electrical rules. You go 100 feet away, go up a size and wire.
Nice. So if you had a dual operation, is there you could put a slave unit on it and then you use the same control board, or is it a different control board for a dual than a single? So
you've got to order 2 operator setups for primary, secondary setup. So if you've got 2 gates there and they communicate over just a basic 3-wire RS-485 like all the old ones do. We are working on a wireless primary, secondary, but I don't have a date for that yet. So I'm not gonna speculate on when we'll have that available.
Yep. So you launched the chain one. That's why when that question came up, I'm like, man, I think that chain one's out. So when you launched that chain one last year at the Fence Show, is there anything new you want to tell us that we might be able to see at the show?
So yeah, we launched the chain drive last year. That was kind of a debut. It was great to do it at you guys' show. And this year, I think we're going to surprise everybody with a swing gate operator. So, So true to form, it's not gonna be an actuator, but it will be post mount. It's gonna follow.
I need one of those tomorrow.
You need it tomorrow. Well, I don't know what to tell you. It's still in development. So what we will see at the Fence Show is going to be a prototype, but it will be functional, and we'll make sure that you guys get first dibs on it.
I mean, that was the thing I was thinking when I was researching Rotary Gate Systems. I had to look it up and figure out what all. I'm like, oh man, no swing gates.
Yeah.
Hold fast. Here they come.
All right.
Here they come.
Here they come. Yeah. So I think everybody's going to like it. It's going to be great for the industry. Again, we're gonna keep your install as clean as possible. No pads. We're going to get you out of the job 3 days sooner than a pad mount operator, and y'all are going to be happy with it. Your customer is going to be thrilled with it.
That is a win-win.
So you're pretty close to the door. Pretty sweet last year, and pretty close to the door this year too when you first walk in, right?
Yeah.
That's
Coming in the show.
Yep. Yeah. So that's kind of cool. So tell us about last year's show. How was that
so
for you?
Last year's show, Brian, I love you. I got nothing but
tell
love.
us. Yeah,
but it was the inaugural show. We were coming from across the country. We had some reservations. We're taking a big chance on coming from Florida over to Las Vegas. Yeah. With a guy that everybody we talked to had nothing but great things to say about Brian, but first time putting on a show. So, but we jumped on board. Michael Brooks and Susan were on board with you, and Ron Hines, and then the whole SAS group talked to us and really got us on board. And we were extremely impressed with how well you did with it. We had a great turnout. I don't know what the final numbers were as far as attendees, but I can tell you we were busy the entire time. I did not get a chance to stop. Normally at these shows, I get a chance to walk around, see some other people, talk to some old friends. I didn't have a chance to do that at all. I'm hoping this year is the same way.
Whew, man,
you get
nervous on that one.
Friends later.
I was sweating on that one because nobody knows, but
we never. Brian, did you not answer that question earlier? You should bet.
No, we've never had that conversation before. So I'm like, man, how's this going to do it right now live? This is it.
Hey, but you did a good job. Like I said, we were very well impressed. We've been going to FinTech since we started doing sales to dealers in 2008. So our first FinTech was actually in Las Vegas. So to be able to come back there for your inaugural.
I remember that FinTech.
Yeah.
I was there. I rented a H1 Humvee that time. Thought I was pretty cool shit driving down the streets in H1. And I learned that vehicle is not one I ever want to own. Slow as shit, rocks back and forth, doesn't stop. I'm sure it offers
no suspension.
Nothing. It was horrible. It was like 19,000 feet to the passenger seat. I couldn't even see my wife over there. No.
Just
I remember that show. I remember
money back that you paid in diesel.
They said, "Don't take this off road." Well, I mean, it's been a while. There's got to be like I can probably announce it now. I mean, there's got to be. I'm allowed. We went off road.
He's like, it's been 7 years. They can't prosecute me for this, so I'm gonna.
I had more than 7 years. We were talking.
2008. That was 16 years ago, man.
Yeah, you're good.
16 years ago.
It took him a good 10 years before he could go back to Vegas without looking around.
I came back with dirt on the tires. They're like, "You went off road?" No, there was just dirt in the road on Las Vegas Boulevard.
A lot of dirt. Don't look under the wheel.
He had the music going, the window down. He's hanging out in his Hummer, cruising down the strip, thinking he's the coolest guy on the strip, right?
Until this guy shows
like we just
up.
came back from Iraq.
Yeah.
He probably taped a couple of them painter sticks to the side of his tires, and he pulls up to it. Hey, check out my spinners.
Yeah. That was a thing back then too.
Right, remember that? The spinning rims?
Yeah. I never owned any, but boy, I wanted them.
My buddy had one of those old Chevy Suburbans, and it was just beat to crap, dude. Just beat. I mean, it was like, all you could afford. We're sitting there going down. We'd go down in San Diego, down by the main street, and we were young, and he would just be like, he literally took those paint sticks. That's where I got that from. Those sticks, and he put them on the side. Those the ones you mix the paint up. Put them on, tape them, or however he attached them to the side of his rims, and they didn't spin, but they just kind of sat there and moved with it, and they were just paint sticks. And we just pull up, and he'd be yelling out the window, "Hey, baby, want to ride in my Escalade?"
Never heard about paint sticks.
He would reach down, check out my spinners. Right?
Oh my God!
I don't think I ever saw that. That's a new one for me. Paint sticks on there.
That must be a West Coast
thing. You guys got to
right?
get creative over there on the West Coast.
It was the 90s, yeah. It was a thing. All right. So the Gate Safety Summit, you helped out a lot in the Gate Safety Summit, you and Shelby from Liftmasters.
Yep.
So,
yep.
And this time we're planning on ramping that up even a little bit more. We're going to have better microphones. We learned a lot from that first show. So this time we plan on really doing a good job on that Gate Safety Summit. So hopefully we can drag you away and get you back over there to help with that. What was your opinion on the Gate Safety Summit stuff?
I think it was great. I would have liked to have seen more participation from the attendees that you have, but you can't control what they do. The thing is, education is key in this. And no matter if you like the new standards or hate the new standards, they are the standards. And if you willfully ignore them, or you put in a system that you bypassed them or something, or you don't educate yourself on what needs to be done, this is your industry, it is your job, and it is your company. And you're putting yourself in liability for not doing what you should do. So you guys are offering a free service for them to come over to the Gate Safety Summit, and I'm happy to be a part of that. But you guys have live demonstrations with the gates that you have built and everything. And, it takes, I think it took half an hour or an hour for us to go through that and answer questions. So take a little bit of your day and come on out, and maybe we can teach you something. Maybe we can't, but it's not going to hurt.
Yeah, or teach us something. I mean, really, it's just, and we went through a lot of work to show the right and the wrong way to do it. So, and we're not afraid to build something wrong, because in order to actually learn how to do it right, you got to mess it up. And explain to people, hey, this is why you put a gate stop in. This is why you put catch posts. And so we built some displays that didn't have gate stops, some displays that didn't have gate stops and catches and things like that. That way we could show you this is what happened. And we showed the gates falling, but then we showed you what happens if you have it on correctly. So I thought you and Shelby did one hell of a job going through there. And, for the sessions that we had. So thanks for that. And like I said, hopefully we can drag you over again on that. Do that.
I've already got you scheduled in. So, it won't be a problem getting in there and doing it. I'm looking forward to, you said you're expanding it some. So looking forward to seeing what else we got to work with this year, and looking forward to doing it and seeing what kind of participation we get this year. So
we need to put a rotary gate system on that thing, a rack and pinion in there.
Yeah. I mean, we can do it. I think most of what we focused on the Gate Safety Summit had to do with ASTM, not so much the UL having to do with the electronics. But if we ever wanted to get into that in the future, I'm more than happy to get you out a display or maybe a couple of operators and get y'all familiar with it.
Yeah. And hopefully if we can expand out a little bit more room where we can actually have a large area to do that, because I think it's a big deal. And if you can get, if you can just get 200 more people to go into that and actually watch that thing, you're not going to drag thousands of people over to those displays, but if we can get 200 people to come over and see why we want, certain safety things on these gates and screening it and what the difference is, I think we can make a big difference. So hopefully we can all in the industry get together on that. The Fence University, we're going to be doing a lot at the show on the Fence University stuff. And if you've been following anything we're doing over the last year, we're doing our part to try to get that university stuff for the members and even people that aren't members. Are you going to be getting involved in any of the educational rooms or anything like that going on during the expo?
So with everything else we've volunteered for, I have not signed up for anything educational at the show. Mike has been talking to me a little bit about it. I may get with him and see if I can fit that into my schedule. I'd love to do it. Again, I think education is key, and I want to be part of it. So it's just a matter of, again, fitting it in the schedule, like you said, getting me away from the booth.
You just got to make some room, brother. Just got to open up and make some room. Got to make it happen.
Well,
it's hard. It's hard.
I got one other guy working the booth with me, so I got to leave him to all 6,000 people that show up to this thing.
And my goal is to make it so busy you can't leave your booth.
Right.
So,
we talk about more space for the gate safety area, but we're getting crushed by all these booths that are cramming in this place. As we grow the fence show and more people want to come, it squeezes on the gate safety area, it squeezes on the fence games area. Right? Those are things we want to have, but not at the expense of not having some cool vendors show up. So it's a struggle. Time in your booth and sharing your education, space of getting enough people there in this limited space that we have as the show grows. It's like a necessary evil, I guess. We want the growth, but we also want to have all the space, and you can't have both.
You can't have both inside. And I mean, if you get to the point that you push the Gate Safety Summit into a tiny corner and just barely do anything, then what is that? What value is that adding to your show and to the industry? So I don't know. It may come a point Shane. Where, like you guys are doing with demo days, maybe we need to look at moving it outside.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see.
Gate days.
There you go.
Yeah. We'll see what happens this year with the demo days. It sounds like it's picking up a lot of steam. So Shawn's doing a lot of stuff out there.
We just send Susan a message and tell her we're going to have gate days.
Yeah. Well,
I can see her.
she might get mad at you. We've already talked about the Fence Show cruise that we're going to have, so she didn't like that.
The fence
Oh,
crew
yeah, I'm
is
all in for
gonna
that.
come. We're gonna get all you guys out of the snow and that cold weather and get
Right.
you out on a cruise ship. I think we talked about that. I mean, we only got one shot at this, guys, because let's face it, you get a couple thousand or even hundreds to a couple thousand fencers on a cruise ship. This is the last time we're all going to be allowed on a cruise ship. So,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
we're going to
Could you imagine? That would be a one-time thing. We are never coming back. You know, the trainings we do here with all the fence guys coming in Evansville for trainings, one hotel has now banned all fencers. No, I'm not kidding you. If they tell them they're coming in for a Misfits Academy training, they're like, "No, we're booked."
Well,
No,
I mean,
we're booked.
well, first
I mean,
you
we got
the,
matches going down hallways, and I mean, just
well,
having
first
a
you got
blast.
the days after of all the detectives questioning us on why people disappeared and what happened. I mean, this just goes on. I mean, so it's going to last longer than the 3 or 4 days. We got 2 days of being questioned about the incidents and all the things that happened, right?
Probably 2 days of Coast Guard searches.
I know nothing. I know nothing.
Look, checking the cameras and all the photos on our phones to try to figure out what happened. I mean, it's going to be a big deal. So we might get one shot at this cruise thing. We'll at least get banned from one cruise line, if not all of them. So I think we got to hit it out of the park on the first time, and then we'll have to.
If we're going to do that, we might as well sponsor it with the Fence King, and then have their fence games over there. I want to see the first person to put some postal diggers through the deck.
Love it. Let's do it.
We're gonna get Brian in there. He's gonna start pounding posts. Bring some of his pounders.
Man, I've been laying awake at night thinking about how I can do post driving in the fence games competition.
Yeah,
trust me, I have been trying to figure it out, but I'm like, we've got problems with noise, dirt. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
inside. Here's the thing. Brian kind of opened the door with the demo days for us being outside. Listen, I'm spending a day out there on that Tuesday. I'm already going to be miserable out there in the heat.
It ain't be that bad. It'll be fine.
Well, it's probably not as bad as we are here in Florida.
Huh? What's that? I said I heard the weather's going to be good that day.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
So Brian promised us.
Yeah.
No, Brian said it's only going to be 85 degrees.
Oh, bring a jacket.
Bring a jacket. No, we're good.
It's gonna get chilly. Yeah.
I fully believe that. Las Vegas in beginning of September. That's yeah.
You know, it's going to cool down at night. So yeah, when we're all gone.
I was going to say, are we moving the demo days to nighttime?
Yeah, right about when you guys are finishing up, it's going to be nice.
That's an idea.
Great.
Nighttime.
Just have spotlights out there. Well, once we put the spotlights in, it's going to heat it back up anyway. So
it's actually a pretty good time. I mean, normally statistically, it's a good time of year because it really does. It gets cooler at night and stuff. It's not like right now where it's hot all day and all night. I mean, it's 105. Like in the middle of August and July, it's 105. At 10 o'clock at night. So it never gets below triple digits. But as soon as we get towards the end of August or into September, you'll see it start getting to about, I say 6, 7 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock starts getting down to the 70s, and then 60s at night. So I mean, I think
in order to get to 70 by 6, it has to be at least 80 by 5.
Yeah.
90 by 4.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You're going to be looking, man. By 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you're going to be looking for hot chocolate. You know what I mean?
Well, the one thing I am looking forward to is, you said you got a couple of months where it's this hot, 105, 107 degrees, and then towards the end of when we're having the Fence show, it's going to be cooling off at night. Here we are going to be 105 during the day. It is going to drop down to about 95 at night, but we've got 95% humidity. Yeah. So when you walk outside in the middle of the night, you're still going to be sweating by the time you go back inside, soaking wet.
Yeah.
So when you guys get out of the shower and you open the bathroom door, does steam come in or does it go out?
Depends on what time of year it is.
I've always been curious about that,
So if it's in the summer, you almost get steam coming in. Middle of the winter, it goes out. So that's how you know how cold it's going to be during the day.
Yeah.
I like it.
So it looks like Susan did drop that GoFundMe account or that address in there.
Good
So
job,
if anybody's
Susan.
watching this, go into the comments and you'll get that link in there as well. Or just, I'm sure everybody's going to be watching this. So, send your prayers through there if you want.
Chris says it's still 90 degrees in September.
Yeah. Well, he's blind.
90 degrees where? I mean, I can live with 90. It's the 108 that we have a problem with.
It does. It gets. I think it's going to get in the middays. It might get. It really depends. I mean, last year when it was here, we had like that. It was the weird. And in my whole life, I've never seen. They had a hurricane in California or something, right? And it brought through some cool
Hurricane
weather.
Hillary.
It brought through some cool weather up through even Nevada. So we had like nice weather even in August. So
well, didn't y'all have some flooding from that last year before the show?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I think it was weird. I think even the actual hotel itself had some power outages for a hurricane in Nevada. Right.
How often do you hear those words together?
No, there is nobody in Las Vegas prepared for a hurricane.
No.
So
I went up to North Carolina for this class I did yesterday. I drove up on Monday, and there's a hurricane in the Gulf, and it turned right and went up through the Big Bend in Florida. And we're watching this whole thing, and it's going across Florida. It's going into the Atlantic. It's going to cut back left and hit, making landfall, and the eye is going right over Charlotte, North Carolina, right? Most of us are from the Southeast. We're kind of used to it. Every one of us looked at that radar, Category 1 storm, and went,
that's cute.
Looks like we're driving through it.
Cute. Yeah.
So
Cute.
I drove through some of the outer bands on the way up there, drove through some of it on the way back. One of the guys from SAS was driving straight into it on his way back down to Jacksonville. And he's just like, it's part of life here.
Yeah. We wouldn't even know if we heard, that sirens you see on TV and those hurricane sirens they have in all those towns.
Or like, tornado sirens we have here.
Tornado sirens.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. I mean, we would just be out there thinking, man, what's going on? It'd be like that movie, where you had 24 hours to do whatever you want. We'd be thinking that's happening. We'd be all in our house. It'd be like, people are going to come try to kill us or something.
I can see that.
Yep. Definitely wouldn't be. We definitely wouldn't be running to our. First, there's no basements here, so it's like, where do you go in these things? There's no basement.
Something like that. Yeah.
You go to your battery-operated car because it's so heavy, ain't going anywhere.
Right? We'd all run to our shops. You know what I mean? We'd all be at our fence companies.
Yeah.
Hiding under the chain link.
Right, hiding under our welding table. That's it. That's our safe place, under the welding tables.
I moved from Oklahoma to Florida when I was 8, so I still remember all the tornadoes we had over there. And, given the choice between tornadoes or hurricanes, tornadoes are over quick, right? They come through in maybe an hour, but it's devastating. Hurricanes, they can last for days, and they are also devastating. The difference between the two, tornado, you get about a 5-minute warning. A tornado or a hurricane, I know that thing's coming for 2 weeks.
Days. Yeah.
So we're watching this thing weeks out, trying to figure out, okay, is this going to be a 5 and we need to get the hell out of here? Or is this going to be, a 3 and we need to go to the liquor store?
Yeah.
The tornadoes here allow for some good testing of fence. We got some great tests going on around here for wind loads.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. We go down 2 feet here and all that stuff. So we definitely, if we had a hurricane or a storm, everything would just go down, the whole town. All the fences would fall over.
Y'all's ground out there is pretty hard, though, right? I mean, it's compacted, and you got to dig your
Brian keeps saying that the shit's hard out there. Listen, come to Lexington, Kentucky. Carter Schmidt will show you some hard ground. That boy's using a rock hammer all day today. Air rock hammer.
Up in Kentucky, yeah.
He was talking about
here.
He was talking about all
out of Nashville, and I remember having to go up there with my granddaddy and dig a trench for him to run a water line to his house. Dude, it took me all day. I still don't think I got that 20-foot section of trench done.
Look, everybody thinks they have the hardest ground on the planet. Everywhere I go, we got rocks. We got hard ground everywhere.
Yeah.
Somebody's got it harder. Somebody has it harder.
You guys are digging through the side of a mountain.
I've been enough places to realize that people worse off than me, and worse off than all of us.
It's a common day to spend 8 hours digging 10 holes out here. It's like that's why when you're like,
I'm calling bullshit on that one.
You're like going, man, it took me all day, and I dug these 6-8 holes, and you're all upset about it, man. That was like last Friday.
So Shawn, I want you to come down here to the beach. You go to put in gates on Pensacola Beach or on any of the beaches from Pensacola over to Destin. All right.
Yep.
Best thing you'll ever want to dig in. You could dig those holes with your hands, no problem.
Trust me.
But there is no structure to it. Okay. So you will still be digging that same hole for 8 hours because it's going to keep falling in on itself.
I built a fence for a training on the beach. It was the coolest thing. Like the waves are crashing in on this house 100 feet from where we built fence. And we're digging a hole. And that's why I said, that's it. We're driving, because they weren't driving then. And I said, no, we're driving. Now we hand drove them because we have a driver, but that was fine. We hand drove like 6-7 feet deep, built that fence. It was aluminum fence. Out there on the beach. Yeah, no, I'm great place, easy digging, but it's almost just as bad to have easy digging because it collapses in.
Right.
So
you wind up with a 2-foot hole, 2-foot diameter hole for a 6-inch post.
Right.
You got either
you're right.
Or...
So tomorrow we're actually doing a training in Florida. I just forgot. Billy Grove with the Fence Academy is doing a 2-day installation training, no dig, in Pensacola, Thursday, Friday.
No shit. Yep. That's where I'm at. Okay,
dude, I love Pensacola.
Yes, I need to get with Billy and
we'll
see
check
if
it
I
out.
can at least show up. Yeah. I got some catch up work to do since being gone for the last 3 days, but I'll see if I can get with him and stop by.
Oh shoot! Yeah. Hey, next week. My bad. Billy just said, see, I don't even know what's going on. We scheduled it. Our team is badass for handling. They're like, no, next week, Shawn, calm down.
Yeah. I think Billy's based out of Pace, so this guy's got me driving 45 minutes to go find a wild goose chase. They're not even doing any training.
Oh, so next week, Chris and Billy are both on there next week.
Okay,
that's awesome. Yeah, we'll have to get some. We'll have to get them on a live or something.
I know there's some guys flying down from New York for that training. They're going to see a world of difference. I was just training them in New York. Their digging was awful. They're going to love it when they get to Florida.
Oh, they probably will.
We got to wrap this thing up.
Yeah, we're getting signaled from Susan in the back.
Mama Susan's been blowing me up. Get off.
You see,
Susan, why are you always killing our fun?
Right, every party's got a pooper. That's why we invited you, Per.
I feel like you're going to pay for that one.
That's going to cost me. I know, right?
Yeah,
see, you guys can't even see her. She's like in the green room and she's grayed out, right? And can you guys see her?
No.
Okay, so I can see she's bullying me from the grayed out in the green room, and you can't even see her.
I knew she was a bully.
Yeah.
I knew
she won't let me have a crane at the demo day to lift people out of the maze. She says it's a bad idea. I said, if they get lost or the panic, we need to reach into the crane, hook it around their armpits, and pull them out.
It's not. It's not her.
You tell her it's a safe idea.
We did a poll, and the entire industry thinks you shouldn't ever own a crane. So that's what it comes down to. It has nothing to do with it. We feel like if you got a crane, even if we rented one, you would end up having a crane somehow attached to the back of one of these super fencers, and you just be lifting crap up everywhere. You just
see what they can do. You don't know what the limitations are until you push them.
Brian, I'm not seeing the problem here though.
A couple of drinks and he sees a smart car in a parking lot somewhere and he's just picking it up in the back. He sees, no longer would he use a trailer on his boat. He would just back his super truck up in there and he'd just pick his boat out of the water. It would just be everywhere he went with his crane. He wouldn't go anywhere without it.
Sounds like a good idea to me.
Right? I'm failing to see the problem in this scenario. That sounds like a good time.
Safety first, Shane. Safety first. It's a backup plan.
You got your yellow vest and your hard hat?
We can do that. We can do
listen,
Susan, if you want to put them on a hard hat and a vest, I'll do that and lift them. I don't know what's going to fall on their head, but that's fine.
All right, guys. Well, Shane, thanks for coming on. Always good talking to you. Shawn, I know we're going to be seeing you almost every week on here with us, so we appreciate your support on it as well. Any last minute things you guys want?
Shawn, it was great talking to you. Brian,
thanks, Shane.
As always, great talking to you. And I will see you next month, and I'm sure I'll be talking to you before then.
Yep.
Sounds good, guys.
All right.
Take care, Team +1. See ya.
All right. See you guys.
Bye, guys.